Stream is live. Let's get this out. Guess we're live on YouTube. Okay.
Damn.
I've started doing YouTube, but there's no viewers over there.
Yeah, nobody's there for crypto stuff.
Like, I get maybe like a handful of viewers, but man, on X, some of these streams can get pretty big. All right. Okay, we got the alpha wallets for Odin. We have Omega. Cool. Man, some of these trades, bro. Honestly, we gave it from like at a minimum 112.
We did.
At a minimum.
Imagine that. We were live too. That's beautiful when that happened.
That is. It's very beautiful. Even our last stream, we had a chart open. I'll pull it up.
It's been nonstop gravy week after week. We got 10 people live already. A minute in. Those are big numbers.
We're getting there. For sure. We had this like curve marked out too, and it's just like following that beautifully. All right. This is the live show, of course, with Christian. Absolutely crushing it in some of these calls.
What a beauty.
Man, wow, Soul. Look at this. This marking here was the first spot from one of the first streams, 112. And so it had made this move here, and then it was just kind of grinding down. And then I think we were streaming 6, 7, 9 a.m. So we would have been on this candle here. And we said this kind of 110, 112 area was the spot. And yeah, just Rip City.
Been straight up.
Straight up.
You love to see that.
It's just magical, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So good for you, man. I think this was a beautiful live call. Absolutely beautiful live call.
I didn't see this in one other place on Twitter. Anything close to a long entry given like that. What it was on Twitter is a bunch of pansies just crying and complaining and selling bottom publicly. They publicly were selling bottom and tweeting about it and complaining. And now prices are considerably higher. So like if you guys saw people complaining and bitching about price and selling bottom or bearish, don't let them tell you they bought. Don't let them give you trade setups. You want trade setups in alpha, you come on with Josh where you actually have real people on here and know what they're doing.
That's it. I agree. Absolutely agree. I'm just going to go through my X actually really quick and just if I want to pull out some of our old tweets. And then I'm just trying to see if we have anything up here. And then we'll get into setups.
Okay. There's beauty tweets around here somewhere.
Okay, what's Crypto Biscuits, right?
Mm-hmm. It might be Biscuits Crypto.
Got to get your X handle. I just can't believe that the market has ripped so high up. It's been a beautiful thing. Honestly, it's been a beautiful thing. I think people were pretty miserable, like after the election. So this is like, okay, here we go. some old tweets, like Griffin too. I can't believe Griffin's just been on an absolute tear.
5x off the bottom that was given, obviously.
Yeah.
When everybody said the AI trade was done.
Okay, here we go. So our first stream, we're just doing this for the timeline, was April 9th. Yeah, this was our first stream right here. So just for everyone's knowledge, and I'll put these up side by side just so we can see, and then we're going to get into setups. But we called it the Purge. At the time, we were purging out the Jeets.
Yeah.
And it was just like we were going full on, don't give a damn, don't give a fuck. Just like, we're purging them out.
It's a holy war. There's casualties.
Yeah. And then we gave these areas of interest 102, 114 on BTC. And then on ETH, it was 1517. And then 112.24. And this is April 10th. And if you were on that stream and positioned accordingly, you would have made tons of money. And let's look at those areas. Look at the interaction at 102.5. Perfect.
Yeah, we like that. We're going to see the same thing at 114.577 shortly.
You said anything over 86, look for a trade above 86, and then you're long. And you're even talking about, look at these wicking here, these bottoming areas, very bottoming feel. And reminder, this April 10th is back here. So April 10th is on this candle right here, which is...
You could have taken it air. You could have taken it above that, like, turquoise line that you have. I mean, there's plenty of places that you can get on these things. I think just people are just very hesitant to click some buttons. I think when people are bearish, I also think nobody had money. Like, I think everybody was just so liquid and chopped to bits. Because the reality is nobody on this app is trading for real. They do not value their money. They're not trying to get better. They're not trying to trade. They're looking for like these long shot shitcoin plays and end up just giving all their money to, Pump Fund and devs. So like seeing things like play out on stream, like 6 weeks later, nobody has like really an attention span in this space. So like holding something for 6 weeks, like it's very, very easy to do. But like this space constantly struggles with comprehending even the most basic things because they're just so jaded by emotion. Everybody was a tariff expert, fresh off of trade and meme coins are talking about the economy and tariffs. So, those are the things that you expect to see at bottom. Those circled areas, that's when you had like absolute peak fear and complaining and crying and everybody selling bottom. Like as if selling bottom's not bad enough for you and your lineage who should hate you forever for doing it, is tweeting about it too. Like just being so much of a pussy that not only do you have to sell bottom because you don't have any testosterone in your body, and neither do their fathers because they have two dads, not one, two. They got to tweet about it too to let everyone know how emotionally distressed they are and how poor and stupid they are too. So there was a lot of that at bottom. And I'm a big believer that like the people who were doing that publicly, don't ever forgive them. Don't ever let them forget it. These are losers. And there's mostly Twitter is losers following losers. So like find the people who are giving trades. Josh does it 3-4 times a week on stream. There's just nonstop ways to make money.
I love the rant. That was great.
Just had to get that out.
Yeah. So why don't you run us through like kind of where we're at here and what you're looking at. If you want to take on the stream, I kind of set the stage for a bit of the conversation from
over to another screen. Well, I mean, the Bitcoin longs are almost done. So I've been scaling out. We got a little bit more to go. You're never going to buy dead bottom, although we do. And you're probably never going to sell dead top, although we do. So, like, the idea is just catching the meat. We caught a lot of meat here. So, like, I don't want to give anything back to this market. I want to buy more cars and beach houses. That's how I look at it. And I should note that those 3 circled touches at the bottom, that first one was a long that was given when we had a daily touch into the 200 SMA. That should have been a long well above 90,000 and cut, which we gave. We gave that second touch. We get into a swing, what happens? And that was guided. And that third touch, I actually said, make sure you load the bags. That was bottom.
Yeah.
And I think like people try to attribute current price activity and market conditions to other parts of cycles that they think they understood, which they typically do wrong. Although you have a very clear bottoming falling wedge with 3 touches. That's important. Each touch was barely successively lower. That's important because bears are running out of coins. That's what's happening. And you're getting that support. If you go back to the top, the first top that was put in 2021, you can see we had, zoom into that falling wedge right there in between those 2 tops. It's the same thing. We had the same thing there. So you're looking for that first high of 108, which was a few months ago, to get taken out in the same way that first high in 2021 was taken out and then straight down to 15K. So if you're going to look for like instances where price action is relevant, like I think just people miss the mark with that stuff. So like that's relevant price action, and that's like obvious. But if nobody was around trading in a few years ago, which most of the space wasn't, who would ever think about that?
Yeah. This, I remember I started trading with Christian, I think, in and around here. This was another area. People were pretty bearish. I was actually shorting pretty good down in here and made some money. And then we were calling the bottoms. Maybe it was here that this move, I actually did quite a bit short on this. And then you're like, no, flip long. And then we just ripped this basically a whole thing up.
What a beauty.
So that was when I started trading with Christian. But here we are. So basically from here, I get it. You're scaling out, but like, how do you I don't know if you want to pull up a chart and give kind of your perspective on the market. I'll throw it on screen and what people should be looking at. And then we'll go through the SOL. I don't know if you have BTC as well. Maybe we'll start BTC and then we'll go through your SOL setup.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people are going to start chasing stuff now. And the reality is if you're not in a position, you missed the whole move. That's just the reality. Sorry, that's how markets work. You got locked out. So don't chase stuff and give away your money. Just be patient. But like nobody ever grasps that concept. Now, I think people will chase things and make money and give it back, in this alt season we're going to have over the next couple of weeks. And I just hate calling it alt season just because it's just, I feel like the term's lost its luster. But I think like just don't chase stuff. There's a lot of altcoins that didn't really move yet, like microcaps. You should be gambling on microcaps, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's good advice for people who are degenerate gamblers on this app, but the majority is, most people can't trade anyway. So, you're not going to trade majors and make a zillion bucks like you want to. You're going to try to gamble on microcaps. And like most people are just going to lose their money. This is the part of the cycle where most people lose their money, is when you're at the highs and everybody's bullish. I mean, I have short orders that are already in. I can't wait to short this market back down after it riding it straight up. I like shorting more because I like everybody just watching price go down and I'm making money and they're not. That's how I look at shorts. So like you're either waiting for shorts or you're chasing and losing money. So if you don't know how to trade, you're fucked. If you got chopped up, you're fucked. If you can't short, most people can't short because it actually takes more talent than longs. You're fucked. So like what do most people do? Right? They just give their money back. So there's our trade plans. Those are the next 2 legs of this trade. So that was given a little, I think it was closer to like 106K yesterday when I drew that. Shipped that out. That's the next leg into the 114,577, which was the same target we gave at 77,000 when we got long. So nothing changes. 114,577 was the same target that we had prior, but the first high we put in the beginning of the year. So the targets never changed. So after we fell short of that level and we started pulling back, well, you didn't run your level. You still have higher to go. There's liquidity. There's extension levels we didn't meet. You know, it was an easy long. It was a matter of just finding position. But I think just so many people got caught up in that like whirlwind of tariff FUD that they didn't have any money liquid to buy. So I think BTC, we're almost done. Do I think we'll go higher later in the year? I think so, maybe. But, you know, this leg's almost done. We're coming in the summer. There's low volume. There's not liquidity. You're not going to go straight up in the summer. Everybody thinks they're just going to like be on summer vacation trading shitcoins, making a ton of money. It just don't work like that. I think there'll be like select trades to take. But I think the summer trade is going to be a BTC shorts. I think it's just an easy trade. I think if you're going to carry a swing trade over the summer, which I will do, it should be a short.
So to play this here, again, that 114.5 area, we had that marked out as per the tweet I reviewed on April 9th or 8th. You would look for this to deviate maybe above this area and then come through it.
Yep. So I have another level, which I'll give you from another system that I'll kind of use in coordination with that. So I'll look for wicks into or above 118,821. So the idea is you want to let price kind of come into 114.
Yeah.
And it should be a quick move. It needs to be a fast move into the level.
Sorry, what was that other level you gave? 118?
118,821.
It's very specific. I don't know. All right, 118,830. That's
close enough.
Okay, and so you're looking at this level here, and you're basically, you want to see price come into the 114.5 level, deviate above it, and then you're saying, hey, you know, in and around this number here at 118, 130, you could start to layer in shorts, or how do you position?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of beginning to get exposure to the short side. You know, it shouldn't be you're taking one full large position in. I think you should be taking small positions in the same way you would DCA a meme coin bag. Understanding that you're now counter trend, looking for a pivot the other way. So that first position should not be your largest. It should be on no leverage at all, 1 to 2x. I mean, if you're over leveraging as someone who's not that good of a trader to begin with, you're just making things harder for yourself. So just play the downside. You know, people always ask me, is it leverage or trade size? It's trade size that matters, not leverage. The more leverage, the harder you're making trades for yourself. This is an easy short on 2-3x leverage. It's an easy short on 1x. Every x leverage you add, you're making things more difficult for yourself.
All right, I'm just tweeting this out. We just gave key levels to put on your BTC charts for those on stream. I mean, honestly, like, people got to be on these streams to just come on these streams, mark up your charts, and then dip out. Like, it's not that hard. It's literally not that hard. All right, so there we go. I just wanted people to know that. So, okay, so that makes sense. And then I guess maybe for those, so not everyone probably wants to short, but I think taking profits for some people is good enough for Bitcoin. And then what you're saying is basically over the summer, look to scale out. You already are scaling out, as you mentioned earlier. And then over the summer, you could probably more focus on just targeted, altcoin trades here and there. But generally speaking, once we hit this level in here, we're kind of looking on the other side of the trade, or to trade sideways for a good chunk of the summer, maybe into the end of the year.
I mean, we can even look at last summer as an example. From we infamously ranged from March to like September with all the just uncertainty into elections. But we had a range there. Every one of those lows was given as a long. We talked about the trading conditions over the market, over the summer, like with the entire market. And then the final tail end of that, it was time to get long and stay long. We talked about that. So the same way we're given setups and now live, we were doing for our private group.
Yeah, and I don't like
summer.
this actually was a bit of like just a grind.
Yeah.
Sideways. I think a lot of people got chopped here, even myself included, to be honest.
Because it lasted longer than people thought.
Yeah, it lasted longer, and everyone's like, well, the ETFs are out. Of course we should go straight to 180, right?
Correct.
But that's not what happened.
And you're not going to have as long. Obviously, we can't. We're not in March right now. We're past it. So the consolidation through the summer is going to just be shorter. So you're going to have shorter consolidation than that. Okay, is one way to look at it. You did mention something that was correct. I think a lot of people just don't want to short. I think the reason for that is emotional bias. And if you have an emotional bias, the reality is you don't deserve to make it. I don't care if that really sounds harsh, but if you're taking trades or not taking trades based off of emotion, you have a detachment from making money. That's what it is. So, when it comes to not wanting to short, there's times I don't want to long that I long, but I think that's more acceptable because it's like being bullish is cool. I'm bullish all the time. I short when I have to because I'm bullish on money, and I'm bearish on this industry. So if I'm giving good shorts, I should be more specific. I'm bearish on the people in this industry, most of them. So if I'm giving shorts in a good RR spot, they have to be taken the same way you would take longs in a good RR spot. So the same way we gave those longs and took those longs, we're going to give the shorts, take the shorts. Not because we're bearish, not because we don't think prices are going to go higher. It's because there's people on the other side of that trade. Your goal is to take their money. I don't think people talk about trading like that enough. It's why nobody makes money. The goal is the people on the other side of trade have your money. Go get it. So where are you getting the trade plans? Where are you getting the levels? Are you executing? Are you liquid? And are you waiting for the right trades? So if you're not long right now, sorry, you missed. That's what it is. So either you listen to people on Twitter who make you feel good about yourself, buy this, buy that, buy that, and then you don't make money, but you felt emotionally good, or you realize you missed, and now it's time to get better. Now it's time to plan your next trades.
I love it, man. This is guys. We're putting on a clinic. All right, I like that. The way you explain it, I think a lot of people will agree with. So,
yep.
We're getting to this area pretty quick. I would assume we'd hit this in June. The way this is ripping, even maybe sooner, I have no clue. But
it's interesting.
It's going quick. So let's pivot to. We'll just cover ETH real quick because we talked about this. Interestingly enough, ETH is kind of butting up against this 200-day moving average. But man, look at this, still marked off here. I mean, you can go back to the tweets that I showed on stream earlier. 1517 ETH long spot, absolute ripper. ETH actually starting to reclaim some of these levels, which is something to note, and holding them pretty well. So I like to see that. I think that's, that gives good confidence maybe to, we don't like to say altcoin season, but definitely rotations into other parts of the market. But thoughts here beyond, what we already mentioned.
I think so many people hate on ETH, and rightfully so. I get it. But you need ETH to run if you want an altcoin season. I think people think maybe Solana takes that torch from ETH. That's just not the case. Maybe if you spend your whole life on Twitter, that's the case. But in reality, people who actually have money are using ETH. that's just the reality. And, I think it's, par for the course that obviously Solana is known for the JETs and the small trees. And, that's just what it is. I think ETH's just not going to go away. So, we gave that bottom at 1517. And for relevance, that level is I don't know, over 3 years old at this point. Josh probably remembers when we mapped that out. That's the mid range, the 0.5 of the entire bear market range for years. So the deviation below that area after a ton of exhaustive selling was a very obvious mean reversion trade back to the 200, which is what you're looking at right now. So with ETH with price into the 200, you want to see a couple things. You'll see a reaction. You know, is it a turnaround and we sell off? Is it a couple days consolidation higher? I'm a little bit biased towards we're just kind of going to go higher through the 200 because I think it's important that right now in a blow off top scenario before a low volume summer, in a lockout rally that no one was positioned for, you want to see ETH create a bit of a disparity between price and the 200 SMA on the daily. So once you start seeing a gap away from that level that we're currently kissing and we're above it, you want to start looking to take profit on your longs or ETH positions, which nobody has anyway. And you want to look to either wait for that price to come back down to 200, or you're just looking for places to pick off and short it into it. You don't have to do like 30x shorts, but like, have you ever heard of like a 1 or 2x short where you're just capturing the downside the same way you would spot to the upside? Nobody does that. So, you know, I think there's trades all summer to be had. They're just not going to be the ones that are pretty for people to take. People rely on hitting like the 20, 30, 50 Xers on micro caps. That's what they rely on. They don't rely on their ability to trade level to level, day after day after day. So ETH's going higher. We have a couple levels. I'll read them to you while you have the screen.
Yeah, I'm going to throw them on I'll update my chart while you're doing that. Go for it.
Let's see, where did I post that?
I'm also trying to see if I can, all right, so delete this.
Find these levels.
Yeah, I have it actually on screen, but the kind of stack up the labels, so it might be harder to see for you.
So for ETH, the first level that I'm looking for is 3032.
Yep.
And then I'm looking for 3437, which is last quarter 3 open.
And the 3032, is that significant last quarter open? Sorry, I'll start maybe the 34. What was it? 3440?
3437.
Okay, got it. And that's last quarter open. Got it. Okay.
So if you maybe go to like the 4 hour, for instance, and if you go back to price action in March, prior to that fully, like February, March, prior to that fully extending to $4,100, just shy.
So 4 hour, yep. Back to March of last year.
This March.
Oh, sorry, this March.
No, you're right. Last year.
Last year? Okay.
Yep.
So last year, yeah, right here. That's 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're on a 4 hour chart here, so
a little bit more.
Okay.
Like right in here.
Yeah.
So keep going left to like February a little bit. So see where you have that we just put that 3032 level.
Yeah.
If you go to like February, do you see that little? Keep going left a little bit more. Right there. See that cluster right where you're on?
Yeah.
So that lead in where we had consolidation and then expansion, that's where that whole move started.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important level to get back up to since we've sold back through it.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, man, it's crazy when you mark these levels off and then you're like, okay, go back in the chart. And then you see kind of the structures from previous areas. It's pretty impressive.
Yep. So you could see like we popped over that level, retested it, and just bounced straight up to 4,100.
Yeah.
So if you follow that level kind of more to like now. Like if you're moving forward in time, you can see there's another touch.
Yeah, here.
Then we have consolidation around it.
Yeah, this.
And then we popped from it.
Yeah.
And then we sold back into it again. Deviation, pop. And then just blew through it and started consolidating.
Yeah, and then same deal. Look, same deal. Again, oh my goodness, dude. This is wild.
Is that 3,400 where it sold off from?
Yeah, it touched it. And this was like, this pop here and then sell off. I remember this day. This was like, that was very painful, I think, for a lot of people. Yeah, that's wild. That's amazing perspective. So basically, kind of, if I were to read this, we're looking for this to kind of run into the 3K level and then probably consolidate, maybe reject back before it moves even to the 34, 37 area, which will probably then bounce in here a little bit before, either any move higher. And if this confluences with the Bitcoin idea, basically we'd want to see this come into this area and then bounce in here and then maybe reject back out. Is that how you'd read this? Or
yeah, so like BTC is the god marker, right? Everybody loves alts and ETH, but BTC is really just what's going to tell you the direction. So, we're looking for BTC over 114, and we wanted to begin distributing. If we're like down with ETH, as soon as BTC runs that level, ETH's not going to be magically at 3,400. It's going to be lagging a little bit. Then you'll see liquidity begin to move into ETH as things come down as profit comes out of the number one market cap. It'll go to number two market cap. That's just how it goes. That's what people tried to front run with Pump Fund and the meme coins. Let me just go to the 600,000 market cap, and it'll obviously, pump a lot harder in ETH. Didn't happen that way. How it will happen is BTC runs the high, ETH will run a high shortly after, and then mid caps and low caps go. It happens like that all the time. There's no difference. So on BTC over 114 to 118 in that wick area, you want to see ETH at least be around 3,000. I'm a bit biased that we're kind of going right to quarter three open from here with no pullback as we start to pull away from the 200 on the 4 hour. And I'll look for that gap to widen. And you can kind of see back in when we put a couple highs back in December, which I let everyone know I'm selling everything the highs are in our group publicly once again, while everyone on Twitter fucking was saying we're going to $600 trillion Bitcoin. You can see we put in a little double top at that same high from 2024. So we have a very clear range. We have highs around 4,000. We have, obviously a lower range around 2145. And we could talk a little bit about where that level came from, but 2145 is what the bottom of the range is. Maybe if you want to look at it real quick, maybe let's look at a fresh ETH chart and let's just mark out like a daily chart range to show what we're actually trading.
Yeah.
So maybe like all these lines and squiggles and SMA aside, I think maybe taking a fresh chart on the daily and let's just like mock up a range where we just reclaim the bottom of the range. It's just a trade to mid-range to the range highs from the range bottom. So you should be long in the bottom of ranges. You should be short in the top of ranges.
Are you asking me to delete all my markings?
No, leave them. Is it possible to bring up a fresh ETH chart?
I guess like I'm trying to figure out, maybe I can just
pick a fresh one, just type in ETH and we'll grab like a Coinbase chart.
All right, there you go. Bipit. Yeah.
So if you go to the daily.
Yep.
All right, so there's our range. So I would mark the range high. Maybe if you pinch that in a little bit more, if you mark the range high at just mark 4,100 the range high, and if you go back a little bit to like that first high and like maybe start it there.
Okay. So 41 range high. Yep. And then throw a net. So this is I'm going to just add range high.
Yep.
We're doing this from scratch as if you were doing this from scratch on your own charts. Okay.
Yep. So you should be starting on the daily. You should be looking to see like where things are. So I would put that bottom one at 2145. And we can talk.
2145.
Yep, and we'll come back to where that level came from.
Okay.
So if you kind of pinch the screen so we can kind of see that whole range in our playing field.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's the range we're clearly in. We've been in. We had a deviation below that. Right? So we had price trade at the extremity of a range. So when you see price trade at extremities of ranges, that's your trade. You should be looking to get involved with trades in the extremities of these ranges. So technically below 2145 into 1517, you couldn't have asked for a better position, which is all right in there. So there's your deviation. So maybe if we go to 4 hour and like zoom in just a bit more on that deviation. So you have your level, there's your deviation. Even if you didn't play the deviation, you play the reclaim. As soon as you reclaim, which we have done, the range low, you're going to go to mid-range bare minimum. So you have price that's just going to continue to top of the range. So your long trades, if you're looking at markets range 96% of the time. So if you're looking for long trades, you should be taking longs at the bottom of ranges on any time frame. That's not, we're just using the 4 hour and the daily just for confluence for the larger macro range we've been in. So you can see that there's a lot of confluence and touches for these levels. But you can do it on the 15-minute chart too if you're scalping. You know, I understand people are just going to day trade. I do it too. Not every day is a trading day though for day trades. It's not, you don't have to be in a day trade, but when you have days where price is trading around these key levels, you're a day trader. That's when you're day trading. That's when you're looking for your swing longs that you're either putting in spot or low leverage, and you're looking for your scalps if you want to play higher leverage day to day into those key areas. But that's the deviation that you want to do it. Now that bottom that we put in was 1517. Where that came from, so let's go back to the daily. So that 2145 is actually the range high for the entire bear market range. See it? So there's your range high. That's using the extremity high of the bear market.
That's this spot here, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So there's your 2145. That price that we just reclaimed was the top of the bear market range. And you could also use it as the bottom of the current range we're in.
Yeah.
So
So
basically
I'm just gonna sorry, I'm just going to edit this. Oh my gosh. Come on. Okay. So range high of previous bear market. Yep.
So if you use the extremity low, I have it marked at 890.
Down. Oh yeah, down here. Okay.
Right there. So that would be your bear market low.
Yeah.
So we could do a couple things. So if you go grab a fib tool right under your line to the top left on the toolbar.
Yeah.
And run a retracement. Run a retracement and anchor the first one at that top of the range at 2145.
Yeah.
And maybe do it closer to the 2023 price action.
Okay. So
Right there. Yep. Do it right there, and I'll show you why. And then put the second anchor at the bottom of that range at 890.
like this.
Yep.
Whoa. I've actually never done this with a fib. I have no clue how people use this tool. Oh, this is learning here.
Yeah, so that's your. So let's just kind of look at those levels. Let me bring up one of my fib charts. Let me move to a daily. I'm on 4 hour. So there's a couple ways to look at it. So the fib chart that I have currently, there's a couple ways to look at it. That way, which will give you can see some confluence. You can see the extension levels that we reach. And then the retrace where the top of the range is. You can also run a fib anchoring the top in the 2021 high, which was 48.68, if I recall, something like that. And you could also put a fib at 890, which is the bear market low, which is your second anchor. So in doing so, that 3,400 area actually comes into play again with more confluence because it's the 618.
Yeah. So should I move this?
Yeah, actually delete that fib for now, and let's just do that exactly.
And then keep it 890.
Yep, and keep it 890. So
okay.
There's your basic. There's your retracement back up from the previous cycle high. So you can see those 3 highs that we had. It should be putting you in around the 764 level, which is just above the 618. So I would consider moves above the 618, which you're seeing there for all 3 of those consecutive highs from 2024 on, was a deviation of the 618. Okay. So every one of those highs, we popped above the 618, put in a high of 4,100 in, what was that? March 24. We did it again in May, and the previous high was in December. All 3 of those punched above the fib into the 764 and back down.
And that is this area here, this this kind of gray zone, right?
Yep. Let me what I'll do, let me send you a screenshot of what I'm looking at too.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know how to use these levels. I mean, you can ask ChatGPT what this represents, but just at a high level, what are the like 618, 786? These are mathematical like numbers.
Yep. Hold on, let me send you a screenshot real quick. Well, the Fibonacci sequence, if anybody's familiar with it beyond trading, is the 618 and the 1.618, which is your first extension. Here's a screenshot comment.
Wow. So this now looking to the upside here on longer time frames. So there's 7K, 11K, and then goes up to like 15, 17.
Yep. So when using the fib, I would be trying to target the 618 and the 1618 as your targets. So for now, the 618 is an obvious target. I wouldn't be looking at that extension level that I just sent you at 72, 73, at least just yet. Let me go back down to the daily a little bit. So using the high and the low from last cycle, it can give you predictive measures using the Fibonacci sequence for this cycle and for current price action, along with some other things.
Right, and the high and the low from last cycle is this spot here, and then the bottom there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is post FTX.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yep. So using that fib, we have a very clear target. 618 is, for me, it's showing at 3333, ironically enough, ish.
Yeah, that's this line right here.
Yep. So you have the fib at 3,300, call it. You have Q3 open at 3,400. On the daily, you're into the 200. And you could see every time that if you look at I took the 200 off. If you're using 200 SMA on the daily, every time we popped above it since the beginning of 2024, we've sold back down to it. So what I would be looking for is a punch above the 200 into the 618, 3,300 area, and then longs are done, and I'll wait and see. We've been in those longs sub 1,600. The group's got averages for the swings. So I think when people are looking for longs, mostly you should be, if you're in the correct time, you should be exiting them.
So something like this here. So over June, so going to 33, so punch above, going to 33, and then probably pulling back, which has confluence with BTC topping at 118.
Yeah, it's what I would want to see kind of into the summer. And, we're in the part where we're just about to, that's just about to happen. So I like this last part of the move happens the quickest, where you get that quick expansion.
Yeah,
that's why it's important that the BTC move above 114 and 118 area. It's got to be quick. If you see price grinding into a level and it's not backing off, it'll be continuation, which I do not think we're going to see here. But if you see a quick move in, it's a liquidity grab. Those are, everybody on Twitter don't sell BlackRock and hedge funds your coins. They all sold BlackRock and hedge funds their coins. And now those funds and BlackRock are going to start selling their coins back to these same retards. So it's going to be like this constant exchanging from hands from smart money to Twitter retards mostly. That's just kind of like how you should be looking at price. So when everybody's getting excited, it's going to go higher. Everybody's changing their upside targets and moving them higher, and nobody's taking profit in. But, that's when it's time to get out of these trades. You got summer coming up. You should want to enjoy your summer with extra money while everyone else gets chopped a bit in low liquidity.
Yeah. Wild. This is good. This is a good trade plan. I like this. And I have a feeling this will age really well, because at that 3,300 level, everyone thinks ETH's going to the highs and they're just piling in the trade.
Yep. And I think ETH can see an overextension into those highs. I don't think it's a viable trade plan where you can say 100% that's going to happen. I think there's a very easy, clear-cut level. That's like 150% move from when we got involved with the trade to begin with. So, I don't know, people will come late to that trade and look for a 10% move. I don't get it. I think that's what a lot of people are missing. We'll be getting out of these trades with, multiple 100% gains, higher to leverage, the more that'll typically be on these moves. But other people will be looking to squeeze out 10, 20% maybe at the top end of this, as, there's a big gap between price and a lot of hang time down to momentum indicators like the SMA. So I don't know. Things do change. If things change, we'll change with it. But as of right now, the same way we had trade plans when price was coming into the low, we have trade plans with price going into the high, and that involves taking profit.
Yeah, and ETH just nice little move here on ETH. Oh yeah, my Galaxy, $23, like that. Okay, let's flip Sol. You have some good Sol trade plans. And last stream, and we'll go to a fresh chart maybe. Oops, but I had this marked out from last stream here. And then into that 200 area. But yeah, look at this. Just literally just following it. I mean, this was a rough markup, but yeah. So Solana, let's fire into Solana here.
Yeah, it was more easy trades. Bottoms take time. I think everybody was trying to rush into the first, low, which I guess would have been, let me see here. That low was on April 7th. That was Black Monday. They said it was going to drop. Everything was going down 20% more. It was dead bottom. Black Monday was dead bottom.
Yeah.
Everybody on Twitter, it's Black Monday. Shut the fuck up. It was dead bottom. We got long. I had orders on Sol filled at 98 and 100 that we've been waiting for months. It was we put orders in months ago, and we told everyone this is where we're going to bounce when price runs its highs. We did. And I did that. We yelled at everybody. But you should have had orders. You should have had buys. If you were paying attention, if you were in our groups, you should have had buys below 100 on Solana, and you're trading much higher now.
And even if you weren't, even if you're just trolling on a stream, you should have had it at 112.24 like I did. So there you go.
That's it. So that first punch, you don't have to, for a spot buy, it's great. I wouldn't be going leverage long in that first punch under, that punch under $100. I think it was like $96 and ended up going to. So maybe that's not the time to go leverage. That's where you're accumulating spot, is at the lows during accumulation ranges, which take months. They take months to go through, and you get chopped up the whole time. So you'll, markets always do, will, after a large expansion to the downside, will create a range. Your job's to buy the range lows and wait. That's it. When you get to the tail end of that range, which we are expanding out of, that's when you're putting leverage on. So, you shouldn't be sitting in leverage trades forever. You should be taking very precise spots. Most people don't, because they don't have the correct levels. We do. And we're given these levels to BDU, which is we teach a course on this. We do a 2-week course. We teach you how to trade like adults. We teach you how to manage your accounts, your plans, your levels, what indicators to use, when not to use them, everything. It's designed to be a 2-week course to kind of cut your learning curve down by 5 to 10 years. So you can either educate yourself and get better at this stuff from the people who have just been showing up for years and years and years and years of doing this. And I should note, like, I spend most of my time retired at this point because I'm done working. There's no need for it. I'll take the easy trades. I don't want to really teach anybody anything. The problem is I find that there's no one who knows what they're doing trading wise in this industry. You're very seldom find people who can execute like this and give trades live, like to live markets, not, oh, this happened after the fact. To say, this is what we're looking for and why.
I love it. Yeah, Christian, I can vouch on Instagram is living the dream.
But like,
those Griffin dollars from the end of last year.
That's it. And that wasn't that wasn't my first time making money trading. And that's an easy trade. That's not like a technical trade on majors. That was just like a very easy AI trade. But like, I don't want to teach people stuff, but there's nobody who has a good course. There's nobody who can trade who is teaching replicatable trade setups in any market condition. There's nobody doing it. So I thought, you know what? We have a private group of people. At that time, it was like 600 people. Why don't we launch a course where we could, really create a future for people where they can actually make money in this space in any market condition, not have to worry about just random meme coins and gambling. When you learn how to trade, it just opens up those doors for you. Very few people are profitable. And it's just a matter of just kind of picking your spots. And like, you had every chance in the world to do so until now. The moves are almost done. That's the reality. The moves are almost done. BTC, especially, people are going to say we're going to 150, 180K right now. It's not happening. Sorry.
I think these videos, and I'll throw this on YouTube because X kind of isn't great for video storage, but on YouTube, because this is streaming, I'll catalog this one. We can pin it in BDU for those that for those that want, like, I think context is really important to the material, because the material, like, unless you understand it, is even for me, who's been trading since I was, in high school, it's still a little, out there. But when you walk through it, like when we start with a fresh chart, mark fresh levels up, it starts to click. So we'll make sure this is cataloged. You had a soul trade setup that you wanted to walk through. And I think like this is more on shorter time frame, 15-minute candles. And this was kind of a play that people might be able to take for this kind of final extension here. You want to run through this?
Yeah. So, if you're not in a trade, here's a way to get in one. So there's two options. This is showing continuation if you're holding that 181.46 level. Price is starting to get extended on a low time frame like the 15-minute. You're starting to see price move away from momentum, right? So either we're going to reclaim 181. That's where you can get long. Or I think there's another chart to this for the other scenario.
The next one.
Yep. This is the pullback scenario. It shows you exactly the level and why, and how to take it. You should have the 200 SMA following price up. So you should have confluence and touching that too if we get this. So I would be looking for like sub 176.
Yeah.
And
down in here.
Yep.
Okay, I might I always get tripped up at how to mark this up nicely.
Yeah, I would always use a horizontal ray for everyone who's watching at home. Use the horizontal ray tool. It's good for, like, let's say you marked out the quarter 3 open at 3,400 ish. You can start that ray at the point of origination of where that line really started too. So you can see where you're getting these levels from. You can reference these things. You could put like clean lines like that where it'll, you kind of put a target. But that's exactly, I would look for a price below that.
It's kind of something which Christian has here. He has a little more defined here, but if you're not in trading looking for an entry, this is option B. So I'll show option A again in a second, but deviation down 172-ish area. So maybe I'll make a double of this one here. Is a spot where you could look for short-term longs. So something like that, I would think. Now, my line doesn't go down below 172 here, but you would look for it to bounce and kind of come back to this, I don't know, this is 176 area or 175 even?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know if I can edit that, but so those are the two options. So again, option A is we essentially just consolidate kind of like we are right now, actually, throughout today, and then look to move higher probably tomorrow or over, I don't want to say over the weekend, but, or, we kind of pull back here, over the next couple trading days, even into early next week, and then move higher.
Yeah, I think we're days to week from seeing these highs kind of run. On BTC, it's any day. I don't like to. I think most people shouldn't guess the time frame in which something will happen. Right now, I think it's for us. We've been following price. We know what's going on. I'll guess day or so before BTC gets into those levels. You got a weekend coming up. Does it happen on low liquidity? Does it wait till Monday? Who knows? That's just kind of our landscape on a Thursday right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. So that great trade setups. I think we'll catalog this one as a good learning session, taking some of those lessons and actually applying it to fresh charts. I might screenshot this here as well as something to look at. I think for the rest of the show, I don't know if last time we went through a bunch of random names, but maybe we wanted to go through some alpha wallets. And
let's do that. I forgot about that.
Sorry?
Yeah, let's do that. I think it's a great idea. I forgot about that. Actually.
Cool. Let's do it. So
I think this is another no-brainer type strategy too, if you could find profitable wallets.
I agree. And there are one that I was following actually got into prompt sub $1 million, and then prompt ripped to 8 million or something, which was great. And then they started scaling out. So clearly some of these have some good alpha, but a simple strategy we can do here is that in Odin's alpha, so go to Odin's Discord, and in there, the alpha channel, you'll find all these wallets. And actually, I'm going to pull this up right now so I can show everyone. So here's OdinBot Discord. And under Odin's alpha, these wallets are basically dropped here daily. And you can essentially take an address here and throw it into, boom. There's Discord OdinBot. I'll tweet that out after and maybe clip this segment up, but grab a wallet. And then what we're going to do is go to, and I'm not going to show all my chats. Go to Wallet X Solana bot right here. And then what you can do is drop the address in, and it'll give you a little bit of context to it. So you don't have to dig through SolScan, but it will pull up kind of what they've been trading, and kind of their, P&L and win rate, etc., history, how much they made. Last 20 tokens traded, a lot of SUI. So that's one wallet. I don't think anything really stands out to me here, actually. But maybe Christian, like, I'll grab another one, and
Yeah.
you let me know what you kind of look at when you're looking at this Wallet-X.
Yeah. So what I suggest is, I think either people have some wallets that they follow if they're, more of a copy trading, soul scan savvy of a person. So either you have a wallet you follow, or if you don't and you want to follow profitable wallets, I think a good place to start and even find a strategy is go into Odin's Discord, go to Odin's Alpha channel. Every night, there's a list of wallets like this that are programmatically sourced. They're not all winners. They're not all good wallets, but there is some good ones in there. Don't just randomly copy these wallet addresses and put it in your Odin bot to mirror. Research them. Either look them up on SoulScan, see what they're doing, check them out on Wallet-X, gmgn.ai. So you want wallets that are closing over 50%. You want wallets that have been around for more than 30 to 60 days. You want wallets who their trades are like longer than a few minutes, right? That'll make sure you're not following people who are washing copy traders. So that's like kind of a good place to start. I would look for wallets kind of like fit that type of criteria. Most people aren't the best with SoulScan, but if you are, I think that's a great resource to kind of pop these wallets in first.
Yeah, you can
Wallet-X
see
is good.
some of these like average hold duration, 25 seconds. So I don't know, some of this, like that one might be a little sus, would you say?
Yeah.
Versus
I would say
here,
like
this
that.
one is 6 hours.
Yep. So 25 seconds. If you see a wallet has like, 10 of those trades, that's a red flag. If you see trade duration 6 hours, that's what you want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are not necessarily specifically vetted for farming copy traders. So just keep that in mind, that you really want to come here and look at average hold duration and make sure that it's some reasonable amount of time. Like realistically, you can't make money necessarily unless you're I don't know, an AI, let's say, scalping 1 minute and 41 seconds. Like that user doesn't necessarily have alpha. They are either getting into bundled trades or, trying to get skim stuff off Pump Fund. I think you could probably config in OdinBot to have some exposure to something like that. But I think as someone, you want to look for people that actually have some sort of edge in the market. And you can see these are just skimmed 1 minute, 9 seconds, again, making 10%, 18%. Not bad, but also kind of sus as to,
Yeah, it could be like off of their copy traders, right? Because they'll put in a trade, copy traders follow, price goes up, they sell their trade.
Right.
They're in profit. So a couple cool things. Odin is very feature rich, like with settings, take profit, stop loss. You could toggle on and off Pump Fund launches. So if it's someone who's, washing copy traders on Pump Fund, but they have like some runners when they're trading for real, you could deal with wallets like that too. So it's meant to be like very feature rich, which is cool.
Yeah, this is great. So Wallet-X or GMGN AI, which I haven't used, so I'm gonna try using that. I might rescan a few of these from last stream the last time that I was going through that. And this is just, maybe having like 10 Sol in your Odin wallet, kind of playing around type play here.
Yeah, and like you could set your trade size. So let's say you put in 1 Sol, you want to test it out. You could set your trade size to 0.1 Sol for every trade. You can set it so you close all of your trade at once. You could set it so you close half of the trade at once. With when your copy trader closes his and opens his. So there's a lot of settings you can definitely play around with that definitely help, and it's going to help your profitability. It's going to help your wins. You can close trades, manually as well, even if the copy trader's still in it.
Yep. That's also honestly super helpful. I think every week, maybe what we'll do is we'll go through some of these wallets. We'll use this Wallet-X tool. I might check out GMGN does it allow you to do more than 3 at a time?
That's been recommended to me. I've never personally used it, but you should be able to check out more wallets than that. We also have a dashboard for Odin where we're showing a live feed of our speed in real time against other bots, and we're just consistently the fastest bot on Solana. So like, that's not just a claim we're making; we're proving it. We're putting our money where our mouth is. So you can check out that dashboard. I actually just sent the link to Josh, and maybe we can share that later. But I would follow Odin on Twitter. OdinBot.io is the @ just stay kind of tuned in. There's trading competitions every week. The referral program's cool. I think Josh has a link. You guys actually get 10% off your fees for the first month if you're using Josh's link. So if you're going to check it out, at least save a couple bucks on the trading fees. But
I do have a link. Let me actually open I have my Odin bot. I've been playing around with it a little bit. The wallet I've been mirroring had a couple good trades, but is not doing so well right now. So I gotta switch it up. As for the controls, like, do you configure controls in any specific way? So maybe, if you have, like, let's say 5 SOL in a wallet, do you set your, like, I can see you set your min trade size, but do you set your trade size to something specific? So you're only using, like, of your 5, maybe you're only using 2 SOL. Like in the top right, it says trade size. Like, do you lower that as and then the bot configs off that? Okay, I'm only trading 2 SOL, but there's like 5 SOL in the wallet, basically.
Yep. So that's what I would do, right? Like, let's say you put 5 SOL. Let's say you put 1 SOL in the wallet. You could set this trade size to 0.1 SOL. So it's a tenth of that. So this way, if you're a copy trader or if you're following multiple wallets, it gives you the ability to get in multiple trades. So I would say, have a small size that allows you to at least have the ability to get into, a bunch of trades at once, if that's the case with your copy trader. I also recommend, small, just same way you would manage like an account for regular trading, right? Just use a small amount on every trade. If you lose trades, you're still alive. You could keep playing the game, right? So I would look at it kind of the same way with account management.
Got it. Here, I'm just gonna.
And as far as like settings, how you should set them, it's really up to you. It's more or less up to the wallet that you're copy trading, because that wallet and trader will have, habits that settings should be able to help mitigate. So it really depends on the wallet, the activity, the habits of that trader.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just gonna send this out with all the links. Okay, actually, I'm gonna throw this in the comments. Okay, in the replies. So reviewing wallets on stream. Here's where are the links. So link to use at Odin. So the first one gives 10% off. So if you're thinking of trying Odin, which you should be, at a minimum, click this link, throw a SOL in, go try it out. Learn to copy trade. Honestly, I slept on copy trading for so long, and it's just at some point you gotta just wake up and try it out. So this is where link to Discord is going to be here. Remember, go to the alpha channel. And then, the speed, you can click that. It's in their X bio. Wallets. There's stories where, like, when Trump launched his token, like, people had copy traded, like, certain wallets that got early on that and just made an absolute fortune when they woke up the next day. So you hear those stories once in a while. Prompt, the wallet I was mirroring got long on Prompt and did an 8x while I was not paying attention and was sleeping. So again, a great example of, if you find the right wallets, you can kind of, do quite well. So Yeah. So this is a great stream, Christian. Thank you for doing this. I don't know if
Sure.
you want to end this any specific way other than, trade on Odin, watch this again, and learn how to mark charts up.
Yeah, that's really it. Make sure you're finding the right levels. Trade on Odin. It's a good strategy to have kind of running in the background. Maybe shoot Josh or I a message. If you're interested in joining our group, it's not free. We don't do free groups. We're not doing paid groups just for the sake of making money. We kind of want to save this industry a little bit. We want your skin in the game. We get our mods paid. We get some cool stuff going on. There's special offers. You guys would have free access to AI tools that no one else has, stuff like that too. So, take your trading seriously. Take your money seriously. You have a summer coming up. I don't think you're going to see blistering high prices now through, the next couple months. So we'll see what happens. Definitely watch the stream over and see what you could take from it and let it digest a little bit. But I think it was another beauty.
Like always, Christian, we'll see you back next week. And maybe next week we're in some shorts. We're scaling into some shorts. So we'll see how it goes.
Catch you guys very soon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. All right, see you guys.